you've been running this business, and it's hard enough, but doing so while raising two children with disabilities had to be difficult. And you've been happily married for 30 years, almost 30 years. So people on the other end of this show are going to want to know, how did Nadine do it?
Hmm.
And Nadine wonders how she did it sometimes, right?
You know what? And I would say this even if he was standing here. I have an amazingly supportive husband. Even when I was in corporate, I traveled extensively, and he's been, just so supportive. I mean, I couldn't do that. One parent has to be here, right? So, he's really taken the brunt of the carpooling and the taking to, swim lessons and school meetings and things. And so, obviously, if not for that, I couldn't do that. So that's on the personal side. And then on the business side, it's having, the right staff. It's having people that can kind of take on their job, know what they need to do, especially because I travel so much. So it's not like I'm sitting next to everybody all the time. Everybody has to, operate really independently. And we've been very fortunate. We've had a number of people here who have been with the organization for 6, 7, 8 years.
Well, I totally agree. My husband was just wonderful when it came to the family support. I mean, he was the one that really, really held down the fort while I was busy. I was traveling too and working a lot. And although he had his own business and he always, of course, worked, he was the one who was mostly involved with the kids, which was fabulous. I did not have special needs kids, although sometimes I thought I did. And but I will say that having that other support, that partner or spouse or whomever, is so important. And I think that's one of the things that some of the other countries have more support with, because there are families who live together for generations, and so one takes over for the other, and that is certainly not in the independent American culture, but a lot of the Hispanic culture in the United States is exactly that same way, and that's so very important. So are your kids still with you then, or are they independent at this point?
No, well,
you have one teenager, right?
Yeah, so my younger one will be a junior in high school next year. So, all the craziness with that, learning to drive and so forth. My older one graduated from college last May, and currently is actually just a few weeks ago moved out of the house about 2 hours away to Pennsylvania, and is working on a 3-month assignment with a company.
Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So if you could do it all over again, would you do the same? Would you do it? Would you put together your company differently? Would you have started Springboard sooner, or how would you have changed things? Because we always look back and said, shoulda, coulda, woulda, so.
I'm a firm believer that things happen for a reason, and that things happen exactly at the time they're supposed to happen. So I would not have started Springboard earlier, although when I think about it, it's like, oh, wouldn't that have been nice? But I wouldn't, because I needed the experiences that I had up to that point to help make this company a success. And had it been 2 years or 5 years earlier, those would have been 2 or 5 years of experience I wouldn't have had that I can attribute to what we do today. So I actually would not do anything any differently looking back. That doesn't mean that there haven't been points of frustration or learnings along the way, but again, you learn from those mistakes, you learn from challenges. So no, I actually wouldn't change anything.
So what is what you're doing now different than what you did working for the large corporation? I mean, I know you're working with different companies, different entities, but is the crux of the work the same?
No, it's completely different. So what we do today is we work with companies on, we have a variety of work streams. So one is around assessments. We do organizational assessments and gap analysis to help a company understand where their opportunities are, or risks or weakness relative to either employing people with disabilities or marketing products and services. We do assessments of websites to make sure that they are accessible to folks who are blind or have visual impairment. We do physical accessibility assessments. We have a whole body of work around learning and development, training on disability etiquette and awareness, or on disability-specific issues, or immersion for talent acquisition professionals. We have a whole body of work around compliance and work-life issues and developing accommodations processes. We produce events for companies for Disability Awareness Month in October, or December 3rd, the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. We have a whole program around talent acquisition, how to reach out and identify people with disabilities for the workplace. And then on the marketing side, we help companies look at segmentation. How do we identify and segment the disability sector relative to our products and services? How do we advertise to them, market, hold events in public, for retail environments, things like that. So very, very different than what I was doing before.
So because you are so well known now in this area, do people contact you? Do you go out and contact them? How do you get your new business?
So just about 100% of our business comes from referral from other companies that we've been working with, or they've attended our events, or they've heard me speak at conferences. It's one of those three. We don't go out and actively look for business.
I think that's fantastic. I mean, the biggest source of good leads and good business are referrals. I mean, anybody listening to this who has a business, I mean, your best source of leads are referrals. There's no question about it. And the fact that people have the confidence in you, I think is so important. And I'm just wondering, what is the most frequent, I won't say popular, I'll say frequent question you get when people are first getting in touch with you?
It depends. So sometimes they get in touch with us because perhaps there's been a complaint filed or they've been sued for some reason. And so the question there is, how quickly can you come in and help and fix this? Sometimes it's about, the question is, we've heard we have new regulations. We're not sure where to begin. How can you help us figure out exactly where to get started? And other times the question relates more to, we've been at this for a number of years. We've tried different things. Some worked, some didn't. We really need to get a strategy going and understand how to do this more effectively. So I would say that those are typically the three first questions, and then that's what leads to, a variety of work that we do.
Well, everybody, you are listening to Nadine Vogel, and she is the CEO of Consult Springboard, and you can reach Consult Springboard by going to their website, consultspringboard.com. So if any of you are working in this arena where you need help with disabilities and understanding what your requirements are and so forth, that's where you need to go. And Nadine, you have just been a fountain of information today. So consultspringboard.com, and Nadine Vogel, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you very much.
And this is Dr. Gail Carson thanking you for listening to Women in Business, the show that brings you entrepreneurs and owners of businesses and senior managers. Did you enjoy this week's show? Then join us next week for more exciting and informative guests on Women in Business. I would love to hear from you as to people you'd like on the show, questions you have for me, and you can email me at Gayle, Gayle Carson13 @gmail.com, or go to my website, spunkyoldbroad.com.